There it is.
Here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you are, inviting you to take a breath because we have some sharing to do today. I have Warrior Matt with me. Warrior Matt doesn't have a beautiful ring. Matt has been with me for quite some time. He was one of my first guided open participants and has now gone through extensive training to now be the warrior that he is, standing in a facilitation role. And we just thought we'd jump on today and share. Share what the journey's been like, share what it has uncovered, and yeah, where Matt sits now in his powerful world. How does that feel?
That feels good, yeah. And it's like well described too, like warrior mat. First time I
Obviously.
hear it that way, and I'm like, ooh, that actually feels really good.
That's what I call you in my head, 100%. Well, where are you, Matt?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
for
do you want to kick off? Well, yeah, tell us who you are if you like. Just what's your intro? What you got?
Oh, who am I?
Yeah, who am I? Uh-oh.
The big, the big question. Well, this is great. What a journey, a journey to be here. And who am I? Yeah, that was a big question for me. And that was a big question for me for a while. And I guess to give you a little bit of a framework as well too, I kind of like to at least give a little bit of pointer or pieces of just to kind of satisfy who I am and my name and where I'm at, things like that. So my name is Matt. Um, right now, I am checking in from my small little hometown called Kapuskasing. So that's in the far north of Ontario, Canada. And yeah, I've been journeying through my own journey. Started off with, I guess, having these chronic anxiety panic attacks about 4 or 5 years ago. And when I was having those panic attacks, and then at one point feeling like, I'd go into the emergency room thinking I'm dying, I'm like, okay, I had one of those experiences. I had multiple of those experiences, and I had one experience one time where I was just like this wake up of like, okay, why do I keep having this experience? Why do I keep feeling this way? And that's what initiated the whole self reflection and self realization journey that eventually led me to this space, led me to CAT, led me to Guided Open, led me to then become a Guided Open facilitator. Because it has been such a transformational piece in my own journey as well to get free from it, get free from what are the things that were holding me back before. And yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Matt. I'd actually forgotten that that was a huge part of your story. That initial, yeah, and I can absolutely relate to that. Panic attacks and the unknown. Why is this happening to me? What is this? Is there any more that you want to share around what was going on for you at the time, or just what the experience of that was like, what your life was like at that point?
hmm Yeah, it's interesting to kind of look back at it because it's like no longer part of my experience anymore. So it's like, oh, what did that look like?
Yeah.
Um, well, I just like I just remember on a regular daily basis, like that heaviness, that pressure that I would constantly feel in my chest, constantly feel in my stomach. So my chest, like, the heart racing, and then the stomach kind of having this like anxiety pressure going on, and then this just kind of always confusion in my mind trying to figure out like, what's going on? Why am I? What is happening? And having a lot of having a hard time sleeping as well too. Like I would deal with a lot of insomnia, and
Mm.
many nights I would not have sleep, or barely any amount of sleep as well too. And uh, generally in my life, it looked pretty normal. Like I had a job, a 9 to 5 job or 8 to 5 job, and working Monday to Friday, and things were okay. I had good money coming in, I had a car, I had all the things, and I had the career, and I was climbing up the corporate ladder as well too, and kind of all those things that like we were told or raised into to think that that is how life is supposed to be and look like, and therefore I was on this place of like, okay, well, let's check off these boxes now. And but yeah, it was quite interesting to have that experience, that even though normally it looked good and looked okay, I was having that experience, and I believed I was alone. I really thought I was alone having that experience.
Wow. Yeah, it's a common theme that I can relate to myself and hear from others, is that it's like your life didn't look wrong, right? It looked great, in fact. I mean, you had all the wins. The boxes sound like they were totally checked.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Why? Yeah, I guess there's more confusion there than ever when there's nothing wrong. When there's no stressful situation where you like your job, where you're rocking your life, and yet here I am in hospital having a panic attack. What is going on?
Mhm.
It's a really good, it's a really good example of that. The fact that we don't know what we don't know is just what's really coming through for me. You know, we don't know what we don't know, and we can't know until we know. So, and that's the living truth of that. Your body knew something's out of alignment, right? Something's off. Something's putting me in the hospital, actually. It's so bad. And the mind just doesn't know what it doesn't know. Yeah, beautiful example. Far out.
Mhm.
Cool.
Mhm.
And so then what? What happened? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, well, and it's quite interesting, like the way you pointed out too, like checking off all the boxes, and it's like interesting. Like, the more boxes I was checking, the more pressure I was feeling,
Ah.
because it got worse. Like the further I went in, like and then I started dating, found a girlfriend, thought that okay, like she's the one, and therefore like okay, let's look at like moving in together, and let's look at getting engaged, and it's quite interesting because it was like, yeah, the more I was checking off those boxes, the more that feeling came through, and yeah, the heavier it got. And so I guess at one point I remember it was just about to, like, I was just getting a promotion, I was moving to a new town, I was moving into with my girlfriend, again moving along this whole how they're supposed to how life's supposed to look like and all those
Mm.
things. And yeah, it was just a regular day, and having this like, holy shit, something's happening. I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack, and yeah, getting like hospitalized for it. And so that's like, then what happened was like when I had that moment, the doctor came out and said, Matt, you're just having a panic attack.
Mm.
And that was like the moment where I don't know if we're back here. Are we good?
Mm-hmm. I, I got
Feels a
you.
little laggy right now.
Little connection issues. I hear you. Keep going.
Yeah, little connection issues.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Um, but yeah, it was just that moment where the doctor said, "No, like, I mean, it's just a panic attack." That's where I started to question everything,
Yeah.
like truly question everything. Like that's when I was like, "Okay, well, something's off here. Something's like," and I just didn't want to believe the story that like this is normal, because that's what I kept hearing. It was like I would express that I'm having anxiety, panic attacks, and then a lot of times it would be like, well, no, it's normal, you're having this experience, it's part of life, a lot of people has this, blah blah blah. And but I was like, but no, no, I refuse to accept that. And then that's when I started to like really question everything, and started to find like, okay, well, what is it that's having me feel this way? And the biggest piece that came through for me at the time was like, well, maybe it's just because I'm not on the right path. I'm like going up this corporate ladder, but then I'm checking off these boxes. I'm making more money. It's looking good on paper and to the outside world, but to me, it just doesn't feel right. And so that's when I started to look outside, or look at like, okay, well, what is it that could bring me this level of like passion and joy and excitement and maybe purpose in life? Like that was the question. I was like, okay, and then that's where I started to search, read different books, listen to podcasts, get into this whole personal growth world, personal development world,
Yeah.
and changing mindset, all this whole mindset thing as well too. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
have to just reflect. It's so beautifully said. Isn't it interesting? I mean, knowing what we know now, right? That your body's intelligence had your back. We can see now your body's intelligence actually knew the bigger, the more part of your intelligence, the most intelligent part was saying, hang on.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then like a lot of people, mindset becomes the new thing, right? And I think that I remember that. I mean, I remember how many books have you read in the mindset space, Matt? I feel like, how deep did you go?
Yeah, far, far into it. I don't know how I lost count of how many books I've listened, how many podcasts I've listened to and subscribed to, and how many other videos and content piece that I consumed, because I just got like just completely addicted to it, because I was just like, oh my god, gotta get more of this. Whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful, isn't it? So powerful. Um, Yeah, whew, I'm just having so many memories of when we first met, actually, that time. And then also, I can't help but reflect on this being such a similar journey to my own mindsets. So much goodness in there, so much. I mean, I'm going to remind you of a story that you have told that is where mindsets was being a really powerful influencer in your world. That where you were actually like what happened after that? You from This is the story that I remember, that you learned how to be confident, learned
Mm,
how to not be anxious. Does that feel?
yeah.
Can you speak into that for us?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because that speaks so much truth for me. Because like once I discovered that, I realized like how insecure I was. Like that's why I became aware of. Like I became aware that I had a lot of insecurities, a lot of fears of expressing myself. Many moments that I wanted to say things and express what was truthfully there for me, but just couldn't. Like it just couldn't. Like there was just nothing there. No matter, I couldn't even find the courage to get to it, because I would just get so caught up in my fears and insecurities and uh, all of the things, all of the stories that were there. And so what I did is like, and I had this, and I can reflect back as well too in that moment where my mind was really good at gathering a menu of tools and techniques that was going to help me appear confident.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, I watched a video, and then it's like, okay, well, how do you look confident in the meeting? And then this person was like, well, if you do this, you take up space, so therefore that makes you look more confident. If you sit in a certain way and stand up, that makes you look confident. If you speak in a certain tone as well, too, that makes you sound confident. And so I would gather all these things and just have this menu, and then I would go about my life and let's say a sales call in my career or something like that. And then I had all these things going on in the back of my mind. So, okay, gotta stand strong, and I gotta be taking up space and have this tone of voice. And, oh, I'm just reflecting back on it now. It's just like, that alone was heavy. And then realizing that it was inauthentic because it was just this manufactured expression or manufactured confidence. And it was a manufactured confidence that was just covering up the insecurity that was there anyways. And it was just a way to appear a certain way, but not feel that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had this very, very, very
I
piece
bet
in my
it worked
mind.
too. I mean, for a period there, it would have worked, right? Because that's good
Hmm.
information. That's not untrue, is it? When we act confident, people respond like we're confident people. And here we go. Our lives do shift.
Hmm. Hmm. And it
Um,
helped. Yeah, it certainly did. Yeah,
yeah.
it served. It served in those moments.
Yeah. And how did it feel on the inside, though?
Didn't feel good at all. Holy shit. I'm shaking just feeling into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because whew, like I remember yeah, having all those things and making sure that I appear confident, but boy was I not feeling it at all. Was not feeling it. And that affected me. That affected me in how I could truly perform at work. Either in my own full potential at work, or it affected me in how I could express myself as well to women that I dated or that I met, or just even generally in public, like just going about my life in public. It's like, I had these techniques of like walking a certain way because that's what I thought that like a confident man walks a certain way, and then I was doing so, but I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it at all. And I was always scared. I was always in this fear of judgment and fear of rejection and all those other things of like, yeah, how am I supposed to appear to society?
That's a lot.
Mm.
And there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of people in that space right now, you know? The other piece that's here for me is that even though from that space of knowing how to appear the way that you want to appear, um, I mean, what strikes to me is that that's then when we're going out into the world and feeling, I mean, to start with, like we're nailing it, right? I mean, I've experienced exactly the same, sitting in a boardroom, the only female at the boardroom table. Okay, I'm going to use my loud voice then. I know the rules of this game. I'm going to interrupt just to show that I'm in control. All of the things. But for me, at least, it only worked for a period of time, even for the outside world, you know? And my belief around this, and I'd love for you to reflect on this, we haven't done this before, is that like I was under the impression that I was being authentic. I was under the impression that, like, yeah, if I do this, this is really who I am, because of course I am, and I'm an authentic person. And in the short term, people responded to that. And then as time went on, it's like they started to notice that that actually wasn't true for me. That wasn't my authentic voice. That was me pushing and trying, and it stopped working. It actually stopped working. Can you relate to that?
Mm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's there for me was like this. I was just doing this pretending authenticity as well too. Yes, because
Mm.
I learned the whole idea of authenticity, and then I've made an idea, like an identity of it, and then
Mm.
starting to like then put that out there. And this was like in my work, but then also like I was building this business, online business as well too. And then I was like this whole thing, and I was learning like, okay, well, be authentic, and that's because that's how you're going to build trust with your audience, and that's how you're going to get people to trust and buy from you, and buy whatever this it is that you have to offer. And so therefore I had these techniques, and I was showing up on camera, I was showing up at work or in relationships, and And yeah, after a while, like what was interesting is that I can't remember if it affected or if it how it impacted others, but I remember like how it felt for me, and eventually like realizing like how inauthentic it was actually was.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah.
And then I was again just pretending to be this confident version of myself because of all these techniques and things like that that I've learned along the way.
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whew. It again, we don't know what we don't know. You thought you were being authentic. That's what authentic means. I mean, what's true for me now, and you relate to this if you wish, is that we can only be as authentic as we know ourselves.
Mm.
I mean, it makes perfect sense in hindsight, doesn't it? And it also makes perfect sense, I feel like, when we hear people exclaiming their authenticity, why sometimes it feels off. Like, I don't know, is that a relatable experience for you where it's like, oh, you're saying you're being authentic, but something not sure. And that's not a powerful place to be. Speaking from authenticity, that's not actually, I mean, the word has just become this, what is that? I don't know about you. I mean, things changed for me when I got real. Truth replaced the word authenticity in my world, obviously. So, yeah, I'd love for you to share the next piece. So, what changed? What happened? What's, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
take your
I can.
time. Take your time.
Yeah,
This might be a big piece.
it's well, like what's immediately there is like yeah, like I was exclaiming like you said like I was claiming as being this authentic person,
Mm.
and that I was about authenticity, and that I was about helping people being authentic and encouraging that, and so I was like using this word a lot.
Mm.
So I can relate to that piece.
Yeah,
Uh, but again, it's just like, and at the time, yeah, I truly felt like I was authentic, and I was
totally.
journeying and going through this journey of like learning to express like my story of what I've gone through, and like being able to be vulnerable and share the pieces that I was insecure about and things like that. So that it was part of it, but it was like it had become this part of my yeah, it just had become a part of my story, a part of my identity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, what came after that was it was like hmm, I guess what's there is like recognizing like okay, well, whatever I'm doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I'm doing is not working. It's not working in my business. It's not working in expressing myself with people that I'm hanging out with or surrounded by or and yeah, I guess it might appeared as working in my work, but sometimes when you're hired for a job, they'll see past that kind of thing, like they're just you're hired for this job, and so even though they may not even see the inauthenticity of it. It's like as long as you do your job, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah.
business, that's not how it works. It's like you don't get results. You just don't get results, and so yeah, and so really what spoke to me was like, okay, well, if this is not working and I'm still here feeling the same way,
Mm-hmm.
even though I have all these techniques and these tools and these ways, and I would review them and revise them and re listen to the audiobooks again and re get those new techniques and remind myself of it and then re implementing it all the time. And oh,
You can
yet
make
still
me
feeling the
exhausted.
same way. Why am I still feeling the same way? Why am I still having these blockages? Why am I still having the same experience? Why am I still attracting the same results in my business? Why am I still attracting the same kind of woman in my life as well too?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, what is that? What is there?
Mm-hmm.
fortunately enough, I was open enough to explore that and curious enough to discover that and continue to find ways to grow because otherwise I might still be in that place.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It feels really heavy even just to talk about at this moment, doesn't it? I just had a moment of like, oh, yeah, there's more. There is more. Um, I remember when you first came into Guided Open, just that you're right, open enough, curious enough, have enough courage to admit really to yourself that it wasn't working, or that being able to have enough information to know that, right, well, maybe I don't know what I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Humility. I mean, that's powerful, and that's on you. You don't come into this kind of work unless you're really up for it, and yeah, willing to be open before we even start to guide you open. So I see you in that. Congratulations. And then yeah, we launched into your initial Guided Open process. I'd love for you to share a bit of your experience with that. Does that feel all right?
Yeah,
Yes, whatever.
yeah. Well, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and like you said, it's like I don't know what I don't know. I was like, I something is calling me to have this experience. I just trusted that. I just trusted that calling. I trusted what was there, and I chose to lean in because I saw that there was something in there. Because I remember it was, what was it? It was a self-expression piece that I was on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the self-expression piece. It was like, okay, like one of the things I recognized was like having a hard time again, just struggling to express myself. And then there was the piece of self-expression that spoke to me in there. And so that was kind of what had me explore that even deeper.
Right.
And yeah,
So you could tell, is this what I'm hearing? Like you could tell that the next big piece was if I could just use my voice, if I could just authentically express, you could feel that there was something that needed to be shared. That's where you were at when you came in? I just want to be able to express myself. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
huge. That's such a huge, impactful piece in all the areas of our lives. All of them. Yeah,
Hmm.
remembering that about your journey now. And so that was the calling. That was, yeah, open to expressing yourself.
That's it. And that was the calling, yeah, like you said, because I was just like, I remember, showing up on camera and wanting to record a video. And yeah, words were coming out, but it wasn't truly what is it that I was
Mm,
wanting to say. Like it was a lot of it was just coming from the mind and this memorization of things that I've learned and not from like my heart. And same thing with whoever I was speaking to, whether it was in the dating world or it was my family or whatever or whatnot. It was, and I could sense it. I could sense it. I was like, my body, my heart wants to say something, but I just couldn't.
mm-hmm.
Couldn't get to it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't get it. I couldn't. I just remember that was a big piece that I was stuck on at the time, and I knew
Yeah.
that that was going to make a huge difference in all areas of my life if I could see past that or get past that or whatever it is that's holding me back in that sense.
Again, it occurs to me that there's this place always in the beginning of this journey where there's an unknown, right? Like you're stepping into something that you don't really, well, you don't have a concept of. And that's the whole reason you need to step into it. That's what I'm hearing. Um, the other piece that's really clear to me as you speak, Matt, is that you knew your mind, you've just referred to, your mind knew what was going on and what it should be saying and all of the things again. And the way that you just explained that, it really dropped in for me that it's like this is what I often speak about. Like the mind knows, you knew what to say, the piece that's missing is it being the lesson actually being integrated.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you'd read the chapters of the book, but you hadn't actually downloaded the integrative content of it. You just skim read it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel like a good metaphor?
Oh yeah.
I kind of remember this with you too. Like you knew your shit when you came. You were like, no, I know this. You were fronting with you'd already been on a journey, but it hadn't come from the head down into the bigger part of your wisdom, so that it wasn't just knowledge. It was actually wisdom, which is a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the word integration is what's coming in for me. We can learn all the things in the world, but we have to integrate them into who we are so that we don't have to think about the way we respond to the world anymore. We just are. Such a concept to be discussing. And that is exactly what's happened for you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about what your confidence level feels like now and how that, give me a reflection.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's like, oh, such a beautiful way to describe it, Kat. Yeah, the whole integration, like that's what happened. That's what happened. We got it open because it was no longer about like, okay, oh, I'm feeling anxious right now. All right, let's go and get this tool now. Okay, let's go get this technique here, or let's go get this now, and then like start, putting these techniques into play, and so that way I can like let go of this anxiety and feel confident again, and it's like what I came out of Guided Open was like I no longer need to think about it. I no longer need to remind myself all the time of all these techniques. It was just like it just comes. It's just there. It's just it's hard to find the words, but it's just there. It's like I feel it, like I don't know. It's hard to really find the words to truly describe it other than to say that like it's this integration. This integration, and the confidence feels natural now. It feels secure, it feels clear, it feels like I no longer have to get those pieces again. There's this fearlessness as well too that I feel inside as well. And then I'm far more equipped as well too, so that should there be fear come through, because there are moments that feeling comes up again. It's just that I'm far more secure in myself and in trust that it no longer takes me over. And it's just like like there's just this trust, this love, this okayness with fear. And then it's just like kind of like the way I describe it to you, Kat. It's like it comes to a point now where it's like tell me to walk through fire, and knowing that on the other side is going to just expand me even more, I'll do it. And without even hesitating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. I mean, reflections are coming in for me. It's an intangible thing to talk about. This is why we always struggle with it, right? It's completely ineffable. There are no words. And we're doing great with words. The thing that's there for me is that it's like we come from thinking we know how to be, into just being. And that thinking we know, and overthinking and all of that stuff that was going on for you just came in, just dropped into wisdom. And this is why we use that knowledge to wisdom piece. It feels so true, doesn't it? Oh, now, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but now when you show up, you're not thinking about being confident. You're just a confident being. Oh, ah, what a relief. Yeah. You want to reflect on that?
Oh yeah. Well, it's well described. It's kind of like an example to that was just to show up on this call. You know, it was just like, oh, okay, I had the piece came up, but it was just tiny and very subtle, and then it went away because I was just in this trust. That's like
Mm-hmm.
I haven't that. I'm in that place now where it's like, yeah, like you said, this knowing that whatever's gonna come through is gonna be my absolute truth in this moment,
Mm-hmm. And that's
and
all
I don't
that's
need to think about
required.
it. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Mm.
I love doing these. So, final piece. What does your life look like now? Like if you were to do kind of a reflection on here I was and now I'm over here. What's
Mm.
there for you?
Oh, so many things. Wow.
Expansion.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, it's I mean, on the subject of like business, for example, and showing up on a either recording a podcast or going up on this call or doing a video or interacting with potential clients or clients, things like that. It's just like, oh, like I don't have to think about what I'm gonna say and how I'm gonna say it and in what way, and then do this whole build up of like authentic confidence so that way I can show up on camera in a certain way that I think I'm supposed to show up in order for people to pay attention. It's just like I just record and go. And it's pure, it's pure and it's natural and it feels good and so that's like on that subject of business and then same thing with my work. Yeah, like I mean, I'm still in a full-time job as well too and that environment as well too has totally changed from what it used to be because it's like now I'm going in and I'm having trust and I'm having this confidence to be able to express myself. I'm having this confidence to be able to even say it to at the request what I need, what I want.
That's
You
big.
know,
Mm-hmm.
huge. And then in relationship as well too. And like I'm very grateful with my current partner as well too, and having like this level of like being able to express what's there, what's present.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, and having more equipment as well new now more than ever to that if should something come through triggered or something like that that I then have what I need in order to express myself in that sense from a truthful place from where it is how it feels for me,
Mm-hmm.
not from a place of like, oh, I'm afraid to say it because I'm afraid of rejection because that was a huge part.
Right.
That played a huge part in my relationship because I was like, I'm afraid to say this because I'm afraid that she will reject that
Mm-hmm.
or will judge me for it when I deeply know that that is my truth. And so now it's totally different. It's like I get to express what's there and we're able to have these conversation and feel secure about it and feel clear about it.
Oh, Matt. That's massive. I mean, all of that. What you're sharing is that before you've come to this point, you've been living a life that's not yours. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't yours to live. It was pleasing other people and I really should do it this way and I was taught to do this when I was a child and I need to still please my father or whatever it may be. All of the ways that you've learned to be a human
Mm-hmm.
and now you can unlearn and actually just be and
Yes.
far out, man. Having my
Yes.
own expansion moment over here. That's what it's about. I mean, this is why I'm so deeply passionate and in this work. Because what I'm feeling as you're sharing is like, oh, thank goodness you actually get to live your life now. And, when we do actually live our truths in our lives, then we're the most impactful. Then we can serve the most. Then we can be the best partners. Then we can rock our parenting. Like all of the areas of our life change, right? All of a sudden, we're coming from truth. And it's a different game. Yeah, what have you got in that realm? I mean, I know this is your experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something more?
Yeah.
We've got our connection just went. We just overwhelmed the connection with good energy, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh my! Chat got too high frequency.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Disrupting the whole energy.
Yeah, I guess we could almost finish up, but I'd love to just hear final reflections. If there's anything more for you.
Well, it's just that there's just more ease. There's more ease for me to express what's true, what's there, what's true. It's like you said, with my parents as well too. Like I'm no longer holding back from saying certain things because of fear of like how they're gonna perceive me because I had painted this what I thought the picture that I wanted them to see.
Yeah.
And now it's like I tell them the truth of how I feel in the moment or the truth of what happened. How many stories that I was like kind of covering up or flaking with some okayness around it just so that way it doesn't look as bad to them. So that they don't see me as the bad child or that I did those things back in my childhood and things like that. It's like now I'm like, I tell them just truthfully, honestly, and openly, and they're like, oh yeah, that happened. Yeah. But that's what was in the past. It's gone.
Yeah. And just, I feel like sharing at this point, just for anyone who's listening, I mean, this is true for all of us, right? We're all carrying the things and whether we realize it or not, that have shaped us. That's just what it is to be human. We got told this, we got shooted that way, we got assumed that it was the right thing over here. And all of a sudden, all of that mixed together has created a way of being that is very unlikely to be your authentic truth because parents don't know. There's no handbook. People don't know, the homogenized world is the way that I refer to it. Just, you're the only one who knows you. And yeah, it's very, very powerful for you to tap into that. I would love to hear one final question from you, one final answer from this question. Why do you feel, Matt? Because Matt now is facilitating these spaces. Why do you feel so passionate about sharing this with the world?
Because I want them to feel what I feel.
Yeah. Oof. That would change the game, yeah.
Yeah. I want them to live their life through their heart, through their own truth, and be free from the burdens of the things that hold them back from expressing themselves, from feeling secure, from achieving greatness, from achieving all the things that they ever wanted to achieve, from having the most deep, meaningful relationships and connection with people that they love, and have all the success that they ever wanted, and do so with ease and not pressure and forcefulness and pushness, like having this from this place of like, yeah, I know this, and I trust that everything is happening as it should, and it's gonna fall exactly where it's supposed to be, and it's just gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Matt. Yeah. God, really taps into your vision of changing the world for me when we talk about changing our own hearts, changing our own lives. I mean, this is where it has to start. We cannot change the world without starting with ourselves. And so thank you for being on this journey. Thank you for your courage in showing up in all of the places. And thank you for now being such a powerful voice for this space. It really is. Oh, I've got a full body shiver. It really is so beautiful to see you with your wings expanded and your voice loud and proud. Yeah. Wow. And yeah, people need you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. All right. Well, if you have been listening, lots of love to you and blessings on your courageous journeys. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.